Xbox achievements are a pretty great way to test your mettle as a gamer, although some of them are much harder than others. But if you really want to prove yourself, here are some of our suggestions for the toughest ones you'll find anywhere on Xbox. Plus, Billy bonus, all of these titles are on Xbox Game Pass, so at least accessing them will be pretty easy.
At least achievements that ask you to beat the whole game on the hardest difficulty are upfront about how hair-pullingly impossible they're going to be, allowing you to prepare emotionally for the torments you're about to endure. Elite Dangerous is much sneakier. The well-trained achievement sounds like the sort of easy-peasy one that many games like to throw at you right at the beginning just to get you started. All you have to do is complete the tutorial. That's it. Proper training wheel stuff, right? Wrong. Unlike most games, the tutorial section of Elite Dangerous is absolutely brutal, requiring you to pull off various flying and landing maneuvers with absolute precision. It's sort of like taking a real-world driving test, only it might actually be more stressful. A mere handful of gamers have managed to unlock this achievement, with only about 1.74% of players managing to snag it, so you'll be in good company if you ever do manage to graduate from this grueling flight school.
Medals are the name of the game in Steep, and it takes 115 gold pieces to score the 24 Carat Gold achievement, making it by far the most expensive 90G you'll ever come across. That means nailing just about every single event in the game, although there is enough wiggle room for you to skip one or two if you do find yourself hitting a brick wall. Although you're much more likely to hit a big old tree, with Steep's various downhill events often having you tearing through the woods at breakneck speeds, making such plan-based misadventures pretty unavoidable. And with no rewind button to bail you out, you're going to spend a lot of your time starting from scratch if you want to get that gold. And because you're aiming for such a mighty haul, it's not just the snowboarding and skiing events that you're going to need to ace, oh no, but it's also the paragliding and wingsuit ones as well. You're basically going to have to master 4 different sports, so we'd say the challenge here is, well, pretty steep. Only 0.06 of players are the only ones we can truly trust on this, as that's the small number who've actually earned the achievement before.
The Master Chief Collection's LASO Master achievement is a challenge truly worthy of the mean green Space Marine. To unlock it, you'll have to finish campaigns in Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4 on Legendary difficulty, which presents a major challenge by itself, filling each level with smarter, better armed enemies who also tend to arrive in greater numbers, and you'll find that Mjolnir armor ain't as durable as it used to be either. Oh, and if you were wondering what the big deal about the skulls was, they're modifiers that add all sorts of devious wrinkles, like reducing the ammo inside weapons dropped by enemies, causing grunts to explode like plasma grenades when they die, and just generally making any given Halo ring a way more dangerous place to be. At least on the Xbox Series X and S, you'll have up to 120 frames per second to help you dodge those lasers. Whatever you're playing on though, the LASO Master achievement is the ultimate way to prove yourself as a Spartan. Xbox itself say that 0.03% of players manage to unlock it and claim the sweet 50G it contains.
As a survival horror game where you spend basically all of your time fleeing from one murderous religious cult or another, Outlast 2 is already tailor-made to test your nerves in a pretty major way, if you ask me. During your desperate quest to stay alive, your character is outnumbered and unarmed, usually relying on nothing but a simple camcorder to help them out. So, why not take that away from the poor sucker as well? Not only does the Messiah achievement require you to play through the whole game on the highest difficulty without saving or dying, might I add, but it also forbids you from recharging your camera even once. So when the battery goes dead, you can say goodbye to that precious night vision mode and prepare to spend the entire rest of the game rooting around in the dark. Losing the camera was a bridge too far for most players, it seems, with only a measly 0.3% managing to achieve Messiah status. It will reduce your carbon footprint a little, I suppose, but raise your blood pressure sky high in return. Congrats to everybody in that 0.3% bracket though, I guess, you maniacs.
Just like the LASO runs in Halo, the Seriously achievements provide an iconic challenge for an iconic Xbox Series, Gears of War. Each Gears game has one of these achievements, and they all require you to demonstrate total battlefield domination. The exact parameters vary from game to game, but they usually involve besting them on the highest difficulty setting, and then heading online to rack up an extraordinary number of kills. Seriously 4.0 and 5.0 also have a bunch of other stuff thrown in for good measure, like earning all of the ribbons and rank placements, completing all the Horde maps, and so on. Each Seriously achievement is a huge ask, but at least you can enjoy some 4K visuals and 120 FPS frame rates when you're chainsawing your way to glory in Gears 5 if you're playing on an Xbox Series X. Still, one look at all the things you have to accomplish for them, and you can practically hear Marcus's gruff voice in your head responding with a single, simple, sarcastic word. Seriously? Congratulations to those on screen now who have, because, well, you're hardier souls than us.
On the surface, Limbo's No Point in Dying achievement actually seems pretty generous compared to some of the other ones we've mentioned so far, as it requires you to make it through the full game in one sitting with 5 deaths or less. Easy, right? Since this is 5 times more chances than some of the other achievements give you, and since the whole thing can actually be completed in just a few hours, it really does start to sound seriously achievable. But then you remember that this is Limbo we're talking about, the relentlessly bleak platforming sensation so absolutely dripping in death that you are really never more than a step away from an untimely demise or two. Avoid the monstrous spiders, the spike pits, and the deadly traps that spring out of nowhere, and you'll still probably slip off a ledge that's slightly too high and end up in a crumpled pile on the floor. With such an incredible array of ways to meet your maker, it'll take some serious survival skills to make it all the way to the end without chalking up more than 5 of them.
The Evil Within is another horrifying tale, this time placing you in a mental ward / mass murder crime scene that is actually somehow a whole lot worse than it sounds. Playing as a detective tasked with getting to the bottom of all the horrifying things that are going down, you quickly find that your investigation is taking you into ever darker and more dangerous territory. So, being the wily gamer that you are, you'll want to keep your supplies as well stocked as possible, especially when it comes to the precious green gels which let you upgrade your abilities. These gels are so precious in fact that the developers couldn't resist adding an achievement called It Is What It Is, which forbids you from even using a single one. That means you'll be going through the whole ordeal with only the health and stamina that you came in with, never getting any stronger while the whole world around you gets ever more nightmarish. Just 0.27% of Xbox gamers have managed this ordeal, so good luck.
One of the amazing things about achievements is that they can push you to see more of the game than you otherwise would have. Exploring more of the map in search of collectibles is one way, or mastering techniques you would have previously avoided, or diving into game modes that you would never have tried before. Rare Replay's Stampers Forever takes that to a whole new level by tasking you with collecting every single stamp. Hard enough, sure, but this does mean across all of the games in the collection. All 30 of them. Maybe you only turned up to reminisce over childhood favourites like Conker's Bad Fur Day and Killer Instinct, or check out retro classics like Perfect Dark and Banjo-Kazooie. But pretty soon you're going to be powering through everything from Blast Corps to Viva Pinata, chasing down stamps like the no-good philatelist everyone says you are. By the way, that word means stamp collector. You've learned something new there. With 30 games from across the ages included in the Rare Replay collection, you're talking literally hundreds of hours of gameplay here, some of which you'll be piling into infamously difficult games like Battletoads. The good thing is that Rare have always been pretty great at making video games, so you're going to be in for plenty of fun while you chase this one down, and I'm sure the mere 0.01% of players who actually have successfully got this achievement completely agree.
Finally, we have an achievement on Goat Simulator, which is basically what happens when a joke goes way too far. For those who have never donned the cloven hooves of chaos, Goat Simulator is a bit of a gag game where you tear around an open world map, causing as much havoc as you possibly can. To make things as slapstick as possible, the controls are intentionally unwieldy, and the ragdoll physics ensure that things are always completely out of control, which is hilarious. Right up until you're trying to snag the Flapmaster achievement, like 0.67% of players have. To unlock it, you'll need to score a perfect 10 in the game within a game, A Flappy Goat, which is a riff on the once popular mobile game A Flappy Bird. But while that little winged fella could conceivably be guided between the obstacles in his path with a little skill and know-how, the goateed star of Goat Simulator is decidedly less aerodynamic, making this an astonishingly difficult achievement to unlock.
So if you're in the mood to really test your mettle, then hop onto the Xbox Game Pass catalogue right now, download any one of these titles, and start going after those achievements. Feel free to sound off about the other nigh-on impossible achievements you've encountered, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for all the latest Xbox news, tips, and advice. Bye-bye!